Hi guys, it's Brittany with Eating Elephants, and today I'm going to make sauerkraut. I have done this before. All of the fermented foods that I've made before are kombucha, fermented carrots, and some purple cabbage sauerkraut. Today I'm going to make some green cabbage sauerkraut, and I'm going to take you guys along with me and show you how I do that. Big bowl, cutting board, cabbage, salt. I'm using coarse salt, not rock salt, but just salt that's ground up coarsely. And a mason jar, the lid for the mason jar, and of course, a knife. Compost! Okay, and then we have these quarters, and we are going to slice up these quarters as thin or thick as you want. It is really not an exact science. People have been doing this since just about the beginning of time, before everything was so precise. So as I chop it up, I'm going to put it in my big bowl and sprinkle it with some of the coarse salt. Not too much. You're going to find recipes that are a lot more precise than this one is. Like I said, I am not precise. I don't measure, and I don't use a probiotic starter for mine. I just let mine ferment from nature, basically. I don't use a starter. So, and I also don't measure the salt. I just put as much as I feel like I need. A little more salt on top. Okay, so here's what it all looks like. I'm going through and kind of breaking up bigger pieces like that. And now that it's all in the bowl and it has its salt, I'm going to start to use my hands to basically take it and rub it against each other. Take it and rub it. Grab, rub. And this is going to rub the salt. This is why we use coarse salt, because it's going to break down the cabbage. And what we're trying to do is get to where a lot of the water comes out of the cabbage. So believe it or not, all of this entire head of cabbage, this big bowl of cabbage, is going to fit into that mason jar because it'll be broken down. So this is going to take a while, and I won't show you that whole process. I'll add more salt as I feel like it needs it. I've seen some people do this type of situation where they pound it to start. And I am by no means an expert. Like I said, I've only made one other jar of kraut, and it was delicious. It worked well. But I am not an expert, so I'm just showing you guys what I do. Okay, actually the punching, it's working very well. So I'm gonna keep doing that until it's more broken down. I'm gonna add some more salt, mix it in a little bit, and then punch some more. If you guys can tell, it's already broken down a whole lot. It already looks like a lot less cabbage than it was when I started. And it's very wet. My arms are definitely starting to get tired. If you can see there, lots and lots of liquid. That's liquid that the salt is drawing from the cabbage. Okay, now that it is quite broken down and we have lots of liquid, I'm going to start adding it to my clean mason jar. It dawned on me that I actually am going to use my long wooden pestle, because I'm going to use that to beat my cabbage down as I put it into the jar. now that the jar is full and all of my cabbage is in it, I'm going to pour in the water, or the brine, I should say. Now, as you can see, the brine is all the way up to the top. And I've actually seen people take one of the leaves from the top. I'm going to break a little piece off and then put it on top, using it to hold all of the cabbage underneath the brine. I'm actually going to put 2 little pieces. All of the kraut is underneath these little leaves here, which means they are underneath the brine. So here is my lovely jar of kraut. That is an entire head of cabbage, and not a tiny one either. It wasn't a huge head, but it wasn't tiny. It is filled all the way up to the top with brine. Hi guys, it is hours and hours and hours later, and the kids are asleep, and I'm just here sitting, editing. I'm just sitting and editing this video, and I've gotten more information since making it. So that's way too much cabbage for 1 jar, because as the fermentation happens, it will bubble up, and the brine, if it's at the very top, will start to spill out. You should still do all of the pounding that I did, but not pounding it down so much that it compacts in the jar. What I'm gonna do is separate it between 2 jars and just make sure the brine covers, even though it'll only be about half a jar, make sure the brine is above the cabbage, and if it is, then we're all good. So also I will be fermenting it for about 2 weeks, and then I'll transfer it to the fridge, and then it'll have by that time it'll have all kind of beneficial bacteria and all that kind of stuff. So and it'll be nice and tasty. So this is just a little insert to clarify some things, because I learned that some of the things that I did were wrong. Like I said, learning curve. This isn't brand new for me, but I'm still a beginner. So thanks for watching, and how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. Bye-bye.